Hola, amigos. It's got another story. Look who's here. It's Rue. Hi, Rue. Tonight's story is The Bear Who Learned to Wait. Looks like a pretty relaxing bear right there. Take a deep, relaxing breath, snuggle down, and listen carefully to this tale about a bear who set out to find himself a new home. Where do you think he ended up living? Deep in the heart of an emerald forest grew a great fig tree. Its branches brimmed with delicious fruit and luscious leaves that provided food and shelter for the many animals that made the tree their home. One day, a young brown bear called Toby passed by. He had grown too big to live with his parents in their cave anymore, so he had left the mountains in search of a new home of his own. The moment he saw the lush green fig tree, he knew it would make a perfect home. This is the place, he said to himself, scratching his back on the knobbly trunk. The thick, tangled leaves gave plenty of shade for him to nap in when the sun was fierce, and the branches bore all the fruit a small bear could ever need to fill his tummy. Welcome, squawked a clever, brightly colored parrot called Pip, who lived high in the branches above. She perched on Toby's shoulder and asked him all about his mom and dad and the cave where he used to live. As the days passed, Pip told him about her many adventures flying through the forest. Soon the two were the best of friends, and Toby was never lonely. He was very happy indeed, and with his lovely new home. Then, after Toby had lived beneath the tree for some months, he noticed a change. The leaves began to fall, and the fruit started to shrivel up. One morning he woke up very hot and bothered. The branches above him were almost totally bare, and the bright sun was pouring down onto his fur, making him far too warm to sleep. What has happened? He asked Pip, as Pip fluttered down from the bare branches. Is our tree dying? The tree is thirsty, Pip replied. We have to wait for the rains to come. Then the leaves will grow back and you'll have your shade again. But Toby wanted his shade back straight away. I can't stay here, he wailed. It was never this hot in my parents' cave. I need to be cool. He stomped off down the forest path. A little way off, he found a thorn bush. The branches were prickly, but there were quite a few leaves. This will be my new home, he said. Toby tried to settle down under the thorn bush, but the leaves were too small to provide proper shade, and he was just as hot as he'd been beneath the fig tree. Even worse, the prickles caught his fur. When Pip came to visit that night, she had to peck them out one by one. Come back to the tree, she said kindly. It is your home. It won't be long before the rains arrive. Rains, said Toby, glancing at the sky. I don't see any rains. And off he went further down the path until he came across a hollow log. This will be my home now, he said. I can crawl inside and stay out of the sun. But the log was cramped, and as he tried to sleep, squashed and uncomfortable, Toby realized he had no one to talk to. He missed Pip and all of the other birds and animals who lived in the fig tree. This is silly, he told himself. Pip is right. I should just be patient and wait for the rain. The next morning he wandered back to the fig tree to visit his friends. Pip perched on his shoulders, and while they talked, she made Toby a beautiful broad-rimmed hat out of dry leaves to help keep her friend cool. But Toby soon became cross again. It's no good, he complained. Even your clever hat can't keep me cool in this burning heat. I've had enough. He leapt to his feet, sending poor Pip flying up into the air. Toby stretched his paws and grabbed the tree by a low branch. Hurry and grow leaves again, he shouted, tugging at the branch. But as he tugged, the whole branch cracked and came off in his paws. Careful, cried Pip. The tree is very dry. You have to be patient. You can't hurry nature." Toby knew that he shouldn't have hurt the tree. He tossed the branch aside. "It's too hot here. I need a nap," he said, and he trudged back to his lonely, cramped log. He stayed in the log for what seemed like a very long time. Some days Pip would visit him and tell him the news from the fig tree, but often Toby would just sit and wait, all alone. He thought the rains would never come. Then one morning he poked his head out of the log and felt something cold and wet land on the tip of his nose. Plop, plop. It was a raindrop. Then plop, plop, plop. A clap of thunder echoed across the sky. The drops came faster and faster until the rain was pouring down in torrents. Tori ran back to the fig tree. "Pip, you were right," he cried. "The rains have come." "You see," Pip laughed as they sheltered together in the roots of the fig tree. "You just had to be patient." After several long, wet days, a thick, luscious canopy had grown like an umbrella above Toby's head. But he still wasn't happy. "Pip," he cried impatiently on the fifth day of rain, "how long will this go on for?" His bed was wet, and water kept plip-plopping through the twigs and branches above and trickling down his ears. "Only a little longer," Pip ruffled her wet feathers. "If you can't wait, you can always go back to the prickly thorn bush or your lonely log," she teased. "No way," said Toby. "I'm staying here with you. You told me to be patient when it was hot and dry, and you were right. You will probably be right this time, too." He picked up the old sun hat Pip had made for him and put it on his head to keep the rain off his nose. 2 days later, the sun came out. The tree looked just as fresh and as beautiful as had been the very first day Toby had decided to make it his home. Perfect. Toby sighed as he lay down and relaxed in the cool shade of the bright new leaves. Pip chattered away above his head. "I told you you needed to be patient," she squawked, seeing how happy he was. "Excuse me, me horse." "Yes," replied Toby, closing his eyes and smiling. "This is well worth the wait." Today's lesson. There is no point in letting yourself get frustrated and impatient. A wise person knows that the good things in life are worth waiting for. That sounds like a good idea. I love you, boys. And I will talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.